Hi everybody, this is Matt. Thanks for watching and welcome back. Twice in one day, I was talking to people that were saying that when they went to the range and they fired a handgun, that eventually the handgun started shaking in their hands. And they were wondering why. One individual, a viewer, actually posted a question saying, hey, I'm normally right-handed, so I only shot 20 rounds and my hands it started shaking really bad. I transitioned to my left hand and I was able to get tighter groups. And they're wondering, why is that? Well, you know what? That's a great question, and it's something that people in the shooting sports don't talk about. And the reason for that is probably a little bit of machismo, the macho man type of thing. But let's go ahead and discuss that, because there's no shame in it. It happens to all of us, especially as we get older. So let's have a chit chat. When you were young, you had great muscle tone, right? Because you were still growing. You were probably physically active. So when it came to holding a handgun or a long gun, I mean, you were just extremely steady. You could punch out and you could hold that thing just extremely steady with no problems whatsoever. Same thing is true with a long gun, like a rifle or a shotgun. Again, no problems. You could go to the range, you could shoot literally all day. You could do whatever you wanted to, and it wasn't an issue. And then what happens? You get older and then you run into a few issues there. Well, what causes that? One happens to be our lifestyle today. A lot of people live a sedentary lifestyle. You're parked essentially behind a desk for 8 hours a day. When you get home, you might just crash in a recliner, sit down on the couch, sofa, whatever, watch TV, watch videos online, stuff like that. Are you really getting exercise? No. And what happens? Your muscles begin to lose muscle. You lose muscle. You lose muscle tone and things like that. I know I've shared my story with you following my cancer surgery and all that, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But one telling thing, like for me, was going out with a lightweight weed eater. And I went out and I was running the weed eater just like I normally would, and I come back inside, go to get a drink of water, go to pick up the glass, and the glass is just going boogity, 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 boogity like this. And I'm like, what in the world? I was just out with a weed eater and I'd taken two hands and I'm still shaking like this, bringing it up, and water goes down in front of me and it is terrible. I'm like, what on earth is going on? So that corresponded after my surgery and translated into shooting a pistol. And so, make a long story short, I visited some personal trainers. I visited a sports physiologist who really helped me out a lot. And the thing is with a sedentary lifestyle, losing muscle tone, stuff like that, that contributes to wobble. It contributes to shake. And the only way to really fix that is by exercise. It's literally get up, start moving, go for a walk around the block, get all of your muscles going, get good circulation going into your hands, all of your extremities, and then get to a gym. Start working out. Get yourself some free weights like dumbbells. Begin working out there. I've done videos in the past that show some of the routines that I do to help strengthen the wrists, the forearms, and the hands, using grippers, using expanded bands, and using dumbbells. Because the thing is, the muscles that exist in our hands are actually very, very tiny. Same thing's true for the wrist. And what happens, the smaller the muscle, the longer it takes in order to regain strength and to build stability in there as well as muscle mass. That's why we want to do things in balance. It's like using a hand gripper, really good idea, but don't just use a gripper. Use something like the expandabands or a rubber band or something like that, where you're coming out and you're giving it a good balanced opposing force. That way you're building strength all the way around. And by the expanded bands, I'm talking something like this. So you can take it and just simply do this, hold it for a while. And this is actually harder than it looks. And pretty soon you're going to feel fatigue. You're going to feel all the way up into here. And something as simple as this can end up kicking your keister all over the place. But it's necessary if you want to overcome that. Another thing is called work hardening. I hadn't heard of the term before until I started to investigate it and ask questions on my own. But work hardening is just simply, doing these exercises and doing them on a regular basis. You don't have to go through completely full sets. You don't have to go through this big routine. It's just doing it every day. Because what did you do when you were younger? If you worked out on the farm, you're taking care of the animals, you're, taking care of feed, you're baling hay, you're work hardening. That's why everything seemed so much easier back then. But the biggest challenge for you, as well as anybody else out there, is actually getting up and moving, getting in motion, and actually start getting into that routine. You don't have to buy a fancy membership to a gym or something like that. Shop around, find a bargain, but just simply go to the gym and do it on a regular basis. And concentrate where you're weakest. Because if we only concentrate on the things that we're good at, we're not really going to help. But something as simple as using those weights, something as simple as being able, just to hold out here and to hold it steady for an extended period of time, that's good. That's work hardening. That's something that you can do. And the more you do something like this, the more physically active you become, you're going to notice a reduction in that shake. The higher caliber of firearm, of handgun that you're using, the higher the caliber, the worse that shake is going to be. How do you think that the competitive shooters do it? Well, I'll guarantee you that A, they exercise, but B, they also go to the range and they might go through 500 or 1,000 rounds in a day. That is work hardening. They're athletes. That's how they do it. They just continually practice and practice towards the goal of perfection. And that's how they stay in the game. But higher caliber equates to what? More stress. Because a higher caliber handgun with more recoil is going to do what? It's going to impart more force and more stress on all of these muscles. So you're going to notice it a lot bigger. If you're shooting 45 ACP or 357 Magnum, you're definitely going to notice, even at the end of 100 rounds, that things are starting to get a little bit wobbly, just simply because of that additional force. Now you can go to the range and put 100 rounds of 22 LR down, and are you really going to notice that? Probably not. Why? Because of recoil. So a little bit of work hardening, hitting the gym, doing some exercises, that will indeed help you. Sometimes we'll also have weird things that occur. One was, as I noticed a little bit of discomfort in my arm and a little bit excessive handshake in my left hand. So I went to my guy and I'm like, hey, I'm getting this odd little shake here. And he starts feeling around and he's feeling the wrist and he does something with it and the wrist kind of goes pop. And I'm like, that's weird. And then he moves up, he grabs down here and he starts manipulating the elbow, and then he does this motion and then there's a loud kerwhump. My eyes got this big around. I'm like, whoa, what was that? Guess what? From working out at the gym and stuff like that, I had slightly displaced my radius. And so the radius wasn't happy. It was impacting other muscles and other nerves coming down in the forearm. So things happen. And the more that we get into this, the more subtle things we'll pick up on. For example, I'm left-handed. I'm left eye dominant and I'm left-handed. So with this SIRT training pistol, let's see how fast my trigger finger can actually work on this. So here we go. This will be as fast as I can run it on this SIRT, which has about an 8-pound trigger. Okay, right-handed. My right hand trigger finger is slightly faster than the left. Why is that? I asked the question and they're like, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that you use your left hand. Maybe it's the type of muscle that you've got in there, the way that it's developed over the years. Who knows? But anyway, I hope that this helps, because the main thing is get active, start regaining what you have lost. And it's great that you actually reached out to me and you talked about it, because hopefully this can help you, because it does affect all of us, especially as we get older, even though we might not want to talk about it. So thanks again for the question. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, everybody, be safe out there and have a good one.